That took me a little longer than usual to get up. But
I see.
yeah, good evening and welcome back to another episode of Smoke and Mirrors presented by the Sports List. I'm your host, Stephen Polius, alongside Declan Krogman and Greg Polius. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
You know what? Before I go, I'm gonna do something a little different. Steph, how are you?
Ooh,
I'm
I
gonna
like
slice
that.
the petty right away.
I like that. You guys tend to forget, so I do appreciate being appreciated. I'm doing well. It's been a good day. I was on my roof actually during sunset, kind of taking that in. It was a nice Monday. It was actually kind of nice out today
Mm-hmm.
in general. But overall, it was a really smooth Monday for me. So I'm like feeling real nice going into this episode. I'm like, ooh, let's get it. What about you? How you doing?
I mean, I'm tired, man. I'm tired.
Oh, opposite of
Work,
me. I'm refreshed.
life, father, husband is
Oh,
tiring.
okay. I don't
I
got that
could,
on
I
my
could.
plate.
That sounded like an Instagram bio right there.
I could go for one of those you got right there, Steph. I'm not even gonna lie.
Hey, I just actually, so I started early. This is done. I got
You should plug the name so we
hooray
just
beer.
throw out some
That's why it's
sponsorships
that's
real
why
quick.
it's such a loose Monday.
You
It
know
all
what?
makes
You're right.
sense.
I don't pregame too often before the show, but today. Hey, Deck, how about you, bro? How you doing?
Hey man, pretty good. I feel a very similar way in that a nice calm Monday and
Yeah.
and a pretty exciting one. We got a good night of football. Hopefully, if this game could be close. But
Hopefully.
Hopefully Gino can keep it close. But a lot of people did go with the Seahawks, at least in the hit list. So I'll be
I mean,
pulling
he
for the
had a
Saints.
decent second half last week.
I need Gino to do well because in our Baruch league, Greg, that I'm in, I need like 19 points from him. And that's all. So as long as he can put up 19 anyway, anyhow, I'm a happy camper. But yeah, no, I
Steph is either really tired or his internet is lagging really hard right now.
oh, it's the internet.
It's not lagging on my side for me. It must have been, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it must be coming through different
Yeah.
in Buffalo.
That's me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm hearing myself fine, but if maybe I'm a little laggy, I'm sorry,
That's me,
everyone.
man.
We already know that my audio is gonna skip at some point in this recording, so y'all just prepare yourselves, lock in.
Yeah, I got a connection unstable warning, and then it went away. Knock on wood. So hopefully we're all right.
All right, well, let's try to get through this then without any hiccups at all. And I want to get into baseball and our picks, right? So, Game 6, we had Astros. Deck, you and I had the Dodgers. Greg, if I'm not mistaken, you had the Braves, right?
No. I had the Dodgers.
You didn't?
We all had
We all
the
had the
Dodgers.
Okay. I have to
Yeah.
make sure because I wasn't sure if I heard of Braves and I was like, maybe you had it right. But
No.
we got it right with the Astros. I mean, that game wasn't even much of a game. They scored in the first inning and didn't look back. I want to say that Kyle Tucker, who's been just a force throughout the postseason, watching that home run fall into the stands in the eighth inning, I was like, man, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Like left field, because like in this series, you have the Green Monster, then you have that perch over in left in Minute Maid Park, and it's like, fuck, you can't really do anything. Like, and to Octavino's credit, I think going into that game, I'm not the most confident, but those weren't bad pitches necessarily. I just think that could be an out anywhere else. It just made it into
In most places, honestly.
yeah, most
that
places,
might have been even off the monster because, I mean,
I think it falls
low.
in front of them. It might, yeah, I think it might fall in front of the monster, if not like right, it hits it. But Astros won easily, so we have one team that we knew was going to be in the World Series, and then we got the Dodgers Atlanta game, and
What a series.
Bueller.
So for those of you that don't know why Steph's acting like that is because last show he made mention of Walker Bueller kind of doing a early postseason Kershaw impression. And we kind of said, throughout his career, he's been pretty good. Yes. But this postseason, he has not. And that is what reared its ugly head. Walker Bueller looked like he was throwing BP.
4 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 6 Ks. Like, it's just not what you expect in a game 6, a do or die that you need. This is your horse. I mean, he was your horse before Max. Max is the horse, but you could argue
Max
that both
got
horses.
scratched.
He
Yeah,
did.
I mean they totally are. That was big.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see him not want to go out there in an elimination game.
I don't think he's. See, that's the thing. I don't think he didn't want to go out there. I don't think he could physically because they said it was a dead arm.
I mean, I think it's not that he didn't want to go out there, but it's surprising that I mean, I didn't expect him to get scratched.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think anyone
did. Mad Max to me always wants the ball, right? Like, there's no scenario where I thought he wouldn't pitch that game. But to me, the difference in that game is Eddie Rosario, which
everyday Eddie.
474 for the postseason, 3 home runs, 11 RBIs, had a 131 like OPS. Like, he has been hitting the shit out of the ball, and I thought that the hit was very clutch. It was a tie game at that point in the 4th inning when he hits that 3-run home run off of Walker.
Bro, it was a 1-2 count.
Yeah, yeah,
it was 1-2.
It is. At that point, it's like I felt like the momentum. We're gonna go with the momentum.
It's a real thing.
Momentum shift for the Braves. And as a Dodgers fan, like, going back to it, tight butthole. you were pressed. And
why are you
kudos,
the way that you are?
Because I have to be that way, bro. It just is what it is.
A colon tightening would suffice.
Nah, it's tight butthole, bro. And save for the Pollock double in the 7th inning that gave them, the 2nd run, there really wasn't a game outside of that. And I commend the Braves because, again, this is a team no one really expected to come out here and do what they're doing, and they continue to be scrappy and play that gritty kind of baseball. And so I want to start with you, Deck. Who do you got for this series, this World Series? Now we have the Astros and the Braves.
Yeah, definitely an unpredictable series. I don't think anybody had the Astros and the Braves making it out to the Fall Classic going into the playoffs. But I'm gonna go with the Braves in 7, and I'm gonna go with Austin Riley as the World Series MVP. My reasoning behind this is so I'm pretty much riding the wave here with the Braves. Obviously, I think they are an underdog. The Astros are a more complete team, in my opinion. But postseason baseball is all about who gets hot. And this Braves team, the way they came on late and got hot after a kind of a stumble at the midseason mark, is very similar. And it's very familiar territory for the Astros, looking at that 2019 Nationals team that really came out of nowhere and then went on a run and wound up winning the World Series in 7 games with Game 7 in Houston. And I think the Braves ride the wave and do just that.
Austin Riley, you love that guy. You love him.
I like him. I mean, he did good. He had a good year, and he was good in the NLCS.
I think it's because whenever I see your name pop up in a group chat, and it's like maybe just a baseball one, like Austin Riley is like here and there, I'm just like, Deck freaking loves Austin Riley.
I like Austin Riley.
In his defense, Austin Riley made it so people talk about him.
Very true. Oh, yeah. I'm not knocking it at all.
Austin Riley, I think what I like about Austin Riley is that he's one of those post-hype guys. Reminds me of like a Will Myers type that was supposed to be good early, kind of took, or even Vlad took that year or two to really progress and took his lumps. And then, I mean, he got off to a slow start this year and then just freaking exploded.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was mashing the ball. And just overall, an excellent year. One of the best for a third baseman in the baseball. It's his third. I'm not sure, at least service time wise, I'm not sure if he had a cup of coffee in 2018, but I'll pull it up right now.
Yeah, I want to say it was
I think he did. I believe you're right.
It does sound right. But Greg, who you got for this series? And since Deck started the trend, who's your MVP?
So I'm going to go with the Astros. I've been kind of rooting for them low key all year.
Yeah.
From the AL.
All year. Make it 3 years. And Riley he made his debut in 2019.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, Deck. I have been on like I might go out and get some Astros gear. Honestly, that might be my.
That's it. And see that is what the folks at home will call a bandwagoner.
But I don't
in the World
it.
Series.
I don't deny it. Because
why didn't you do this 2 years ago? Because you were caping for them back then
because
too.
I was broke 2 years ago. That's why.
Oh man, that's too funny.
The Astros. So one thing I will say that we haven't said is the Braves are playing. They're not playing great baseball. They're playing inspired baseball. Again, because they're not supposed to be here. This is house money for them. Even if they get swept, who cares? They weren't really supposed to be here, but here they are. So that's why I think the Braves will, kind of like the Red Sox, come away with a couple games at home and on the road, maybe 2 games. But I do have the Astros winning in 6, and I have my MVP as Jordan Alvarez. I think he's just so locked in. And I don't know if you guys watched the game where they did the triple box of his swing path on 3 different pitches, and it was literally the same swing path. When a guy is that locked in and his swing doesn't, he stays like level through the zone, the hitting zone, on no matter what the eye level of the pitch, it's going to be tough to get him out. And I don't know if there are any Atlanta pitchers, even with Matzik, the lefty, who came in, and just pretty much ended the Dodgers' hopes in the 8th inning, 7th inning was, I think, striking out those 3 big hitters. But even a Matzik, I think it'll be a much more even matchup with a guy that locked in.
Steph, where do we see this series going?
Well, we got one. You got Deck for the Braves, got Greg for the Astros, and I got to be the tiebreaker. And I don't mind doing that. And I have to say, you made a compelling argument, Greg. Honestly, you really did. But I'm going Braves, and I want the Braves in 7. Right? I love an underdog story. Always. I'm a Met fan. We're Met fans. Like, and I understand that they're in our division, but it's something really beautiful about them going into the trade deadline, right? Not really seeing a way. Well, I shouldn't say not seeing a way. The Mets gave them a chance, or gave them the opportunity to trade for some players to maybe make a push. And look at them now in the World Series. If the Mets closed out in the first half, this wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't have seen the Braves looking, especially after that huge injury to Acuna. They were not looking to make any moves. But the Mets left the division wide open, and the Braves made the moves they had to make, and they found their way into the World Series. And I just love watching them play. And for Freddie...
Real quick, because I don't want to lose that. I'm sorry. But Justin Holch, one of our guys in the comments, works for MLB. Justin, I don't know what you need to do, Holchi, but I need you to tag Sandy in all of this Mets slander because we are tired of it. Right? We are tired of it. We need something to happen, but continue. Steph.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. But no, I think I'm pulling for the Braves. I love the way that they're playing, and my MVP would be Eddie Rosario. I really feel like this man is just so locked in this series. No knock on Austin, obviously. I think he's another great player, but Eddie Rosario is, to me, a player that can be a huge difference maker in this series, and just taking the momentum he's had throughout the postseason so far into a World Series where maybe he didn't see himself being in this position. Most of these guys didn't. So it's kind of like the chips are all on the table, and I just like his approach at the plate. I think he's been so locked in. A 1-2 count, you take a ball deep. It's just. It's hard to get anyone locked in that.
112 on that.
Yeah, it's
what
hard
a mid-season acquisition. I mean, that's shades of Cespedes in 2015.
But what's crazy is he's always been known as a guy who can hit. So the fact that he wasn't more sought after was kind of shocking to me.
Well, he's coming off injury.
People that needed outfield backs.
He was coming off an injury, if I wasn't mistaken. He was.
Yeah. But the Braves were willing to be patient. And look at what that pace. So they were aggressive when they needed to be and patient when they needed to be, and it's working amazingly for them.
Yeah. Does anyone remember
the one thing I will say in defense of the Astros, as always, is that the Astros close games better than the Dodgers do, which is why you saw the Braves come back and go up 2-0 early on in the series. I don't think Houston is as prone to blow games like that.
I agree with you. I mean, this is going to be a dogfight for the Braves, point blank period. I think even when we saw the hiccups from the Astros against the Red Sox, they still came back and they battled. And they're just the team that they have the personnel to go out there and win a game. And if they're down 2-3 runs going into the 5th, 6th inning, even, that game's not out of reach.
Yeah.
With the bats that they have, especially when they're home.
It kind of reminds me of like the late 90s Yankees. How no matter what the score was, 5th, 6th inning, if it was 3-4 runs, you weren't worried as a baseball fan watching because you're like, this team's going to make a comeback.
Deck, did your
Yeah, I mean-
eyes drift off over there because you're like, oh, the good old days?
Well, yeah, I just thought about it. I mean, it's something like I'm so with Chapman being as volatile as he is. I'm not
Yeah.
used to like I had to go back in the memory bank to remember watching the opposing fans leave the stadium before Mariano came out there in a 1-run game in the ninth. I mean, you want to talk about automatic? I mean,
Yeah.
Whereas Chapman, you know what's coming, and you know he's
yeah.
going to make it interesting. But I just remember one of our first shows on Worldwide, early in the year.
Can he say that? Is that allowed?
What? Oh, Worldwide.
I said worldwide earlier, so.
Oh yeah, okay. I just remember one of our first shows. We brought in Chuck and my dad, and my dad said something to the effect of, "I like boring players. Give me Eddie Rosario." And now Eddie Rosario blows up.
Of course, Brian called that out.
I would not question that at all. There's for sure a soundbite we could grab of Brian saying that, because he's a savant. We've acknowledged that. He looks at these players and he identifies the ones that are like can have a huge impact on the team. And Eddie Rosario has been that.
Gleyber Torres exact batting average, correct?
Yeah.
Well, did he finish the year that way?
Yeah.
265?
Yeah, he said in 260. He said Gleyber's not a 280 hitter. He's a 260 hitter.
It's really
and
interesting.
He finished exactly.
Because I
259 he finished.
I remember Fernando Tatis was a 260 hitter.
Yeah. Well, actually, I said he was going to hit 265.
260, no, you were like 260 to 265, but it's just funny, you know.
Yeah. Yo,
yeah,
when you did this, I was like, oh boy, what is he conjuring up now?
Hey, it had to be mentioned.
Of course. I mean, obviously.
Of course. We're talking about early takes back in the worldwide days.
Exactly. Back in the lovely fun worldwide days.
But I got so let's tonight's game, 8:09 p.m. When you want to tune in. It's going to be Charlie Morton versus Framber Valdez. Greg, who do you have tonight?
I actually have the Braves winning game 1 tonight. I do think Charlie Morton is probably the most seasoned pitcher on the Braves staff. And Charlie Morton, he's just a big game pitcher. I think we've all can acknowledge that no matter what team he's on, he's just a big game pitcher. Yeah. And I think he's going to give the Braves, solid innings. Valdez, I think he's still a little volatile, but
yes, last game out was great though.
Yeah. The last game he was great, but I think Charlie Morton is too good. And if the Braves offense continues like they were, I'm going to give game 1 to the Braves.
Deck, what are you thinking here?
It's tomorrow night, not tonight, Steph.
Come on, sorry.
Thank you, comment section. I appreciate you guys.
Tuesday
night. Shout out to
Holtzy and Carl. Game 1. Yeah, I like Braves in this one. I totally agree about Charlie Morton, and I think he's going to come against his former team and just go out there and miss bats, do what he does best, and have a nice start and get them a much needed game 1 win, because I feel like getting ahead game 1 means a lot more for them than it would for Houston.
Definitely. I agree, but I also think getting ahead game 1-0 doesn't matter to a team like Houston.
I don't think it matters more to Houston. It matters more to the Braves, though. Like the Braves need the momentum. That's what Deck is saying.
The Braves need to go on the road and get it done.
Yeah,
and if they can come out of games 1 and 2 with a win, that's a win
split.
In itself.
You mean a split?
Yeah. Yes. Games 1 and 2 with a win in one of those games.
In one of those games,
split, fine, that's cool, but you can't get swept in Houston, because once you get swept in Houston, the tides start to turn. But if they can, they like to start series off hot. And hopefully they can continue to do that.
I think for the 30 for 30, I want them to get swept in Houston so that they just have to come back.
Come back in game 7 and win it all?
Yeah.
Storybook?
So storybook. But I agree with y'all. I'm going to go Braves in this first one. I do believe that Charlie Morton, being a big game pitcher, comes through and he gives them the innings that you expect from a quality pitcher, a veteran pitcher, gives them a chance. I think that riding the defeat of the Dodgers and having the offense clicking the way it is right now can give the Braves a chance to really put up some early runs, and they just can't get their foot off the gas. We've seen what these Astros team can do. Like, they have to be putting up runs and adding to their lead with every inning, in my mind.
Absolutely. 2 things. I want to shout out Holtzy once again. Said 81% of teams who have won game 1 of the World Series since 95 have won it all. So Holtzy been dropping some facts.
We know which team falls in the 19%. The 96 Braves. going down 2-0.
Yeah.
Or they went up 2-0 and then lost.
Steph, I gotta say, as a Met fan, I feel a way at how excited you are to root for the Braves in this series. Like, to see how giddy you are. Give me a little cause for pause here. What's going on, bro? Talk to me.
So I think what it comes down to is I can see my team in how the Braves are, like how they're playing right now, right? Like that, again, the underdog, the scrappy team, the Mets having one of the highest budgets, they didn't really play like that as far as payroll goes. But even though they're a division rival, I really do like, just as a baseball fan, I love to see this type of team being in the situation they're in right now, because they were not supposed to be here, right?
Okay, that's fair.
And when you look at the story, that's why I said the 30 for 30 part. Because when you look at the story, right, when you're looking at the whole season and how it developed, how it unfolded, and now we're seeing them in the World Series going up against kind of like a David versus Goliath situation where they're not the best at any phase of this game compared to the Astros, but they're in it. And they've defied the odds time and time again. So that's why I was kind of excited, because just for the sport, when I think about baseball and the opportunities, you don't have to have the highest payroll. We've seen that in the past, but you can still put together some scrappy games
Royals,
like these guys
Rays,
have.
We've seen
that.
I mean, that's
Royals,
real.
Rays,
Real.
Nats.
Yeah, that's real cute and all. But I've seen Chipper Jones break my heart. Tom
Chipper ain't part of the team anymore.
No. Understand? This is hurt.
History.
This is
I
years
understand.
of hurt.
I understand.
I cannot root for the Braves to win. Period. It's for, so it's not on the same level, but it would be like if the Red Sox made the World Series, like Declan wouldn't root for the Red Sox. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't root for them in the ALCS.
But that's what I'm saying. That's how I feel about the Braves. The story is great. Don't get me wrong. The story is great. But I will not root for them. I do not want to see them win.
They're a very likable bunch, though, I will say.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Carl asked, will people watch this World Series? Number one, that's such a non-baseball fan question. But people will watch this World Series to see the Astros lose, because the Astros have become the MLB's villains, and everybody likes to see the villain go down. That is why people will watch this series.
I know where he's coming from with that, though. I don't think that was as much of a dig on baseball.
Oh, I know. This is just me going at Carl.
Right. I think what he's getting
narrative.
What Carl's getting at here is that he's asking pretty much two small market teams with Houston and Atlanta playing in the World Series. Is this going to attract the viewership that it should? Because baseball viewership has been sketchy over the past decade. So I think it's a fair question.
Oh, I think it is.
I mean, it is from anyone else but Carl. Anyhow, we can continue.
Don't we have to get into Carl's sport now?
Yeah, we actually do. And what a segue we had for that. So thank you, Carl, for that. But yeah, let's talk some NBA. We didn't get into as much of it. We talked about a lot of the top 75, which I also want to say, if anyone's seen the Klay Thompson little videos of Klay Thompson and how they bought him a 77 jersey. And he came into the locker room and he was rocking the 77 jersey because he's a 77th best player.
I'm gonna own it.
Yeah, it was great. I really did like that. And shout out to Klay, because like Klay feels like he deserved to be on that list. And when he gets healthy, he's playing again. And I think there's an argument to be made with that. As much as Carl was against removing a Paul Pierce or a Reggie Miller, there could be an argument to add Klay. I did like that, but we didn't get to go into our overreactions, which it's the first week of basketball. Everybody is going to be looking at one game and deciding the fate of a whole franchise based on one game. But we have a week in, so I want to get your overreactions. And Greg, I'll start with you. What is one of your overreactions to this first week of basketball?
Am I allowed to give an honorable mention?
You can.
Okay. My first honorable mention overreaction is that the Lakers will trade Russ mid-season. They'll trade Russ mid-season.
So you don't think Russ ever fits in to?
I don't think Russ knows how to fit in because he only has one speed, and that won't work there. But my main overreaction is the Charlotte Hornets, the team that MJ built, finally will be in the Eastern Conference Finals, and LaMelo Ball will be a top 3 MVP. So he would be in the top 3 MVP voting.
I don't know how to take. I don't know how to take this. I don't know how to take this. Like I know there's, I know there's like LaMelo Ball bias behind that, so I don't know like whether this can actually pick up steam or if.
Listen. We know I've been a fan of LaMelo since high school, and especially when he had that growth rate to get to 6'8", and when he played against grown men in Europe, and he was killing them. And I always knew that he had the ability to come to the pros and his game would translate, and it has. And when he's on the court, they're just a better team. And I think that the year they had last year, just kind of going through the growing pains, I think they're going to be even better this year, and they're going to challenge 3-0, baby. 3-0.
They are 3-0. Yeah, I mean, just like Chicago. And that in and of itself has been impressive. The Caruso, whew, has he lit it up? But Deck, what are some of your overreactions you got?
Yeah, so I kind of took these as I didn't realize I was gonna have to make some outlandish takes, but I took it as addressing some of the outlandish takes.
Yeah,
and
hey,
like
you can have your own or address
sure.
it. Yeah.
All right, there you go. So one thing I'm addressing is the Lakers have had a slow start to the season, obviously losing to the Warriors and the Suns. Mm-hmm. I've heard so much talk this week about LeBron being washed. Morons, is that like the best way to put it? Like LeBron James is not washed, guys. It's ridiculous that the narrative could be thrown out there that he's washed after 2 games. Can you give the man some credit? He's in year 19. He's been nothing but consistently great 18 years through. And you think 2 games against good teams in the West is going to make him all of a sudden some washed up scrub? I mean, it's ridiculous. LeBron's going to perform at the superstar level that he always performs at, and this Lakers team is still going to go far. Any reaches here or in between will not be tolerated. That's how I feel about it.
It will not be tolerated.
I love that. LeBron haters. You need that on a shirt. Honestly, you need that on the shirt. Carl, get on that. We need that on a shirt. Thank you. Appreciate you.
What else you got? You have any other overreactions that rubbed you the wrong way?
I mean, the Knicks aren't going to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's something I've been hearing a lot. The one thing I will say is that I'm going to go the opposite on the Nets. I think that the Eastern Conference, the Heat have improved, and the Bucks are going to be pretty good as well. Obviously, the defending champs, they're going to be back in the Eastern Conference Finals or near there in that realm at least. And I think right now the Nets without Kyrie missing a piece there, and they could get over the hump and still compete. And I think they'll compete in the playoffs. But will it be enough without Kyrie is the main question. Right now, I'm going to say no.
All right. I mean, I think that's fair and balanced.
Before you go, Steph, Carl said something in the comments. I don't know if you saw it, but he said LeBron has been hurt 2 out of the last 3 seasons. But when he's gotten rest, he's been good. So, Deck, I guess that's to your point. Once with the players he has, I think what Carl's trying to say is he'll be able to rest more. He doesn't have to, play 35 minutes a night now.
I mean, we got Melo dropping 30. I mean,
yeah, we do.
It's awesome.
Vintage Melo.
And to address Ziggy in the comments, he said, "Who said that? Deck, stop the cap." A lot of the public so far, a lot of public Knicks fans, not necessarily people in here. I know Ziggy would never say something like that.
Ziggy's pull up in a
lot of the public and some of the takes.
Yeah,
stop the cap. People have said that this team is getting really good. I'm seeing quotes this week about how Thibodeau left his fiance because he said, "If I'm going to be a basketball coach, there's no room in a woman for my life, for a woman in my life." And I hear the comments going, "Yeah, this guy's he's eat sleep basketball. We're chip bound. We're doing all this." I'm like, "Oh, whoa, let's win a playoff series, guys." It's anyway.
I will say,
but not Ziggy never said that, so no. I got to point that out.
I was going to say LeBron, I believe during an interview, they were asking him about load management, and he's against it. He said he likes to play as many minutes as possible. But speaking to the rest and how he's been injured the last 2 or 3 seasons, it kind of makes sense to have some hybrid version of that for him because you need LeBron at his best. It doesn't make sense
he's been aging injury prone.
Yeah.
He's been a little
but that makes sense. His
age,
body,
so.
He's not year 19, years, let's say 17, 18, 19 now. We're looking at a player who's been great but has dealt with injury. And why would you not just keep him fresh when the games matter most?
Facts.
So for those that are against load management, I think, and even LeBron, it might make sense for him to, I don't know, buy into it just a little bit. It doesn't have to be, Kawhi.
Also,
not playing back-to-back games.
I realize
2017.
I'm ashamed of myself because I'm here caping for Carl in the comments, not realizing this is all Celtic bias because his last comment confirmed that LeBron is old. Wait till March when the Lakers have the hardest schedule. Why are you mad, bro? It's 3 games in. But go ahead, Steph. We want to hear your overreaction.
Yes,
I'm actually looking forward to this.
So
I'm curious which way it's going to go.
My overreaction, and this is mine. This is I don't think anyone out there is saying it. All right, no one's talking about this. Maybe some of the fans might agree, but give me Golden State for 72 wins this season.
Wow,
damn,
10 losses. I am gonna
with
go
no Clay.
all in.
With Clay for half a year.
Clay, yeah, well, not half the year. So the last report I saw was that Clay was going to be out for the rest of this month, and maybe a portion of next month. But like he's working his way back. I don't think it's going to be half the year, but we'll see.
72. So they're going to tie the Bulls for 72 wins.
Yeah.
I think what's gonna happen is. I think what's going to happen is they're going to go 77-5 in honor of Klay Thompson, and they're going to go out and win 77 games and shatter the record as a nice knock at the NBA top 75.
Hey, that would be beautiful. So all I'm going to say is we have a healthy Steph Curry, right? That's a lot of where I'm coming from is seeing Steph healthy finally and watching him ball out the way that we know he can. The man is averaging 7 assists, which he hasn't averaged since 2014, which only helps with the facilitation. Like he's going to be the main scorer, but he also he makes everyone around him better. He's averaging 9 boards right now. I don't potentially see Steph staying at that kind of clip because he hasn't done that at all in his career. But I believe in Steph, and this could be the renaissance, man. He could end up being the close to triple double a night. And I'm not saying he will, but imagine a world where he is. He's already averaging 31 points. Steph Curry is going to carry this team. And I think that Golden State, who maybe people are thinking they don't have a big 3, they can't do it again. Steph is going to show why he is one of the greatest shooters and why he's one of the greatest players in this league. So give me 72 wins. All right, boom.
Ziggy said pass him a spliff, bro.
Yo, Ziggy, I got you, bro. Don't worry. I got you. Trust. It was before I lit up, though.
Hey, it's a very loose Monday. So.
He did say that.
Mm.
I don't see it.
Ziggy's got the keys.
I'll tell you this.
3-0. Hey, they knocked down.
I see 60. I see 65, 67.
The Hornets will make the finals before the Warriors win 72 games.
Just know back when the baseball season
Greg looked
started,
a little high when he said that.
Just know back when the baseball season started and there was a particular someone, you're muted by the way, but let me talk. There was a particular someone who was like, give me the Mariners for the wild card. There were laughs, there were jokes. People in the comments didn't want to believe it. And yes, they did not make the wild card.
Fun of that.
People make oh yeah, look at
no
you.
on the live we laughed dead in his face.
Yeah. Yeah, it happened.
I know I did. I definitely did.
Manny did as well. Manny was on that live. But yes,
tiny hands. What up, tiny hands?
Wow. But yes, they didn't believe then, and you don't have to believe me now. They didn't make the wild card, but they were damn close. All I'm saying is, hold me to that 72.
All right, shout out to Ricardo, the elder statesman, popping in. Said his early hot take is James Harden isn't that good when he doesn't get to the line 30 times a game. Ooh. I just want to say you dragging it, bro. You don't get to the line 30 times a game. I mean,
he doesn't.
It's
not too far off though.
It's like 15, 16.
If you look at him and some other superstars and what they average on a yearly basis in terms of shooting free throws, it's very similar. So you're dragging it.
But okay, and we're talking about James Harden only, I guess. But in that scenario, as far as his scoring output, that's a big portion. He gets the free throw, he gets to the line, and he scores he makes those baskets at a high percentage. So it's a big part of his game. And if you take that away from him, he loses the scoring punch, and you need him for that, especially without Kyrie.
So what I will say is, I think in James Harden's game, he's deceptively quick and gets to the into the paint very easily. If he makes that more part of his game than trying to flail at the 3-point line for fouls, I think he could still get to the line. But he has to make a concerted effort to do that because that takes effort.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that.
I don't think they're
Rick's
calling him fair either, though. To be honest, they're looking at that, and he's definitely the poster child. And him and Nash said that after the game last night.
Absolutely.
There's no reason that he only had one free. What did he have? One trip to the line last night. That's inexcusable. That at a certain point, you got to look at the refs, which is an easy thing to look at in how today's sports are officiated.
That's a fact.
Whole fact. But I think as this develops, as we continue to watch and take in more of these games, we're gonna see my 72 wins will manifest. And I want to say the Sports Hit List Basketball League started back, and this is our first week. Really, we started middle of the week last week, and Yahoo doesn't do.
Steph's team was the Braves of last.
Oh,
it definitely was.
100%.
It definitely was.
And
he was not supposed to make the finals. Anthony Mullen's still sick about that.
I was in the championship out here balling, and Jarv was scared. Even if Jarv doesn't want to admit it, Jarv was scared. He made 3 pickups on Sunday. I'm just saying, like if he didn't think that he could, if he had to make the pickups, if he didn't have to make the pickups, he wouldn't have done nothing. He made 3 pickups anyway. I did not draft Hassan Whiteside. That's what matters. I had a far better draft this year than I did last year.
It also helped because Phil passed on James Harden for Dame, and James Harden fell in your lap at the 8th pick.
Honestly, and I wasn't trying to draft Dame again. Nothing against Dame, but I just needed someone a little bit more dynamic, and that I could have at that back end of the first round. Like I would take Dame early second if I had someone else, but I could not go with Dame again. And hope that his assists, because the threes were great, points were great, but I needed more assists from him, and he just wasn't bad for me last season.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all gonna get the updates on this Sports Hit List, at least matchups. All right, so just to let you know, it started back. This is week 1. Well, we'll talk again on Friday when I'm winning.
Trae Young and Domantas Sabonis.
Sabonis. But let's get into some football.
The way he gave the flowers and said Sabonis, it was very satisfying. I gotta say,
it was.
Fit well.
Yeah. But let's get into some football, all right? Because we're gonna wrap up before Monday night starts. We have not done that yet, and we damn sure gonna do it tonight. I'm saying it right here, all right? At this point,
that's right. Speak it into existence, my guy.
Exactly.
Famous last words. We know what's coming next. Gino's gonna have the ball with 7 minutes in the first quarter, and we'll be talking about signing off in the fan zone that's coming on tomorrow. Like we know nothing is gonna get done.
Probably not wrong.
We don't need negativity.
The Saints will have 7
space.
on the board.
Hey, you know what? More motivation. My haters are my motivators. I'm about to get this right now, boy. Watch. I'm about to cut y'all off. Like, nah, we're done. We're done.
Prophetic.
All right, but let's talk some football. All right, the Sunday slate was very interesting. I want to give a shout out to Tom Terrific because he had his 600th and 601st TDs of his career. All right, the man is 44. He's 44, and yet he still manages to to be the best quarterback in the league. And it's funny to think about how he's performing now and what the questions were when he got to the Bucs, which is, was it Belichick that made Tom great? Or did Tom make Belichick great? And looking back at that now, seeing how he's performed since, having the OTAs this season, having the time to be with his wide receiver core, this man is continuing to just defy the odds. The greatest quarterback in NFL history. And if you try to contest it, you're dumb. Shut up. But that was on one side of the ball. The other side is Justin Fields, and we talked him up a lot.
Brady's going to be on the Manning show tonight. The broadcast.
Oh,
yes.
I look
be a
forward
nice
to that.
guest of Eli and Peyton.
That should be really nice. But I want to talk about the Chicago on the other side because they put up 3 points. So the final score 38-3. You had a really good running game from Khalil Herbert, which shout out to someone being undrafted and going up against a Tampa Bay defense that hasn't allowed more than, I think, 64 yards to running backs this season. But Justin Fields is just, he hasn't taken the steps that I feel are necessary that some of these rookie quarterbacks have been. And it's unfortunate just because there's so much talent there. And I know it takes time. We want to talk about week 7, and a lot can change. But Deck, I want to ask you, what do you make of Fields' development? Because I know you're someone that talks about Hurts as far as that same kind of quarterback and how he's viewed by the media. And once he has a good game, everyone's ready to jump in on the Hurts train. Do you feel like that's something with Fields as well? Like, I know he hasn't had too many games, but they're very similar in that sense to me.
Yeah, I think Fields' situation is similar based on the talent level of the team around him. This was a team coming into the year. I really thought, I know Greg agreed with me, that Fields would be a good guy to run the offense as dynamic as it was. Keep in mind, guys, I know they went 8-8 and they came out as a 7th seed in the NFC, but this is a team that went to the playoffs last season. So when you have a playoff roster and it's completely torn to shreds and a rookie quarterback looks like he's playing for the Jets out there, no disrespect, but that's really what it looked like with the pass protection. With the pass protection, I even remember I looked at this game last night and saw them on Vita Vea got in. It was like 38-3. By the time the ball was in Fields' hand, he was in the gun. 2 Bucks had gotten by the Bears offensive line, and 2 offensive linemen on the Bears were on the floor. I'm telling you, that team yesterday, not even kidding, it's the most overused analogy or overused point in sports, but that team had absolutely zero will to be on the field yesterday and zero heart, played with no grit. And that does start with Matt Nagy and the scheme that Matt Nagy runs. The fact that you don't run RPOs with Justin Fields, who did it better than maybe one of the best RPO running quarterbacks in college football history at Ohio State last year. Let's call it what it is. The fact that you don't utilize his strength on a team that has the weapons to pull stuff like that off. Allen Robinson has 40 fantasy points on the whole year. Like, it's inexcusable.
There's no
the kind
reason
of stuff
why
that makes us
he
think that
hasn't
Trubisky wasn't the problem.
Yeah, there's no reason why
he's got to be gone.
Scheme.
Like, Matt Nagy in a year's time should not be the coach of the Chicago Bears. No way, no how. And I got to shout out Travis because he was right about this from the beginning.
So,
before we get to Steph,
we give Tom Brady's flowers.
Go to you.
Yeah, we give Tom Brady's flowers. But I'm a little pissed off at Tom Brady and Bruce Arians because Tom Brady fleeced that guy for that ball.
Okay, see, so Chuck did say that in the comments, and I wanted to speak to that. But, let him know.
I mean,
that wasn't Tom, though.
But Tom said he was giving him stuff like, but the ball was worth $500,000. What the organization between Tom and Mike Evans gave them, if it came up to $25,000, that's probably an overestimate. It was he got 2 signed jerseys and a helmet from Tom Brady, a signed Mike Evans jersey, his game cleats, and $1,000 credit at the Bucks team store, and 2 season tickets for the remainder of this season and next. That dude should have got lifetime season tickets for giving that ball back.
Seriously, that would have sufficed. That
would have been better off keeping that damn ball.
For real. What Keyshawn say? Give me the damn ball. That's what I would have said.
Yeah, that's a nice little package. They said a lot with it, but not for what that ball is worth.
Yeah. And also Bruce Arians. Why is Tom Brady in the game in fourth quarter or even midway through the third? That game was over by halftime.
I was thinking the same thing. I mean, he really shouldn't have been out there, but I think he put Blaine Gabbert was in with 7 minutes left in the fourth.
Yeah,
but to me, that's too long. What are we playing for at this point? Say a lineman rolls it over and rolls it to his ankle. We see how easy that can happen. Why risk that? Yeah. To me, the risk is not worth.
I feel that
worth the reward. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say I agree with you. I think that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think my connection went out. I was just gonna agree with you. I think that he shouldn't have been in that game, and there were a lot of runs. I think that's the majority of what Brady was running at that point. But I agree. It's at a certain point, it was time for Blaine Gabbert to go in the game. And Pito say, my boy Pio, of course, Tom wasn't stat padding. You don't stat pad when you throw for 200 yards.
Very true.
But as far as the Justin Fields thing, I think we have another case, just like Steph. That was a great comp with Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. Matt Nagy, and I mean, Adam Gase has become the poster child for bad coaching, and these two guys embody it, honestly. And there's no reason that you don't scheme for your quarterbacks, But I'm not going to repeat what Dex said because he's right. But what's your take on it, Steph?
Um, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go ahead and say I agree because I refuse to let Deck be right, and I'm gonna move on to the next.
You're so petty.
Oh yeah, no, we're doing this.
You're
This is
petty,
No,
what's
that's
knows
happening.
no
fair.
bounds.
Let's admit it.
Yeah. No. Deck is like, yeah, we can't do it. I'm like, we about to fucking do it. Let's get into this.
Real quick, Justin Ruiz has known you since you guys were like 14, and he still spells your name wrong.
Wait, that happened in the chat? I saw him make a comment.
He just said it. He just corrected it, but the initial misspelling kind of made me upset. Not gonna lie.
Wait, how was it spelled? PH?
Yeah.
Yeah, Just I ain't gonna hold you. You sad for that. You sad. Like I'm it's my, you know me too long to do stuff like that. And I make fun. There's family members who put one F. I think that's disrespectful. It's two F's. It's two hard F's. All right.
One F is definitely disrespectful.
So Just, if you could correct that in the chat, I appreciate you. Want to move on to the Giants and Carolina, right? So Deck, your Giants out there, was it 3-5 for a large portion of the game? It was looking a little ugly, looking pretty ugly. As ugly as it looked, nothing was as ugly as Sam Darnold on that field. And some people might say it was a play calling, and I would agree with that to some degree. But there were also just really bad decisions. That safety in the end zone from Sam was just, it was just like,
it was blatant grounding too. I don't get why these refs can't wait.
That should have been called immediately.
Call. I mean, Jesus.
There was no one in the vicinity. But
he was throwing a Manti Te'o's girlfriend or something.
I'm pretty sure
nobody in the area.
I don't know about you, Steph, but I saw a flash of him in green and white when he made that throw.
Well, I was gonna say he came back to MetLife and boom, he went. And it's since the fourth game of the season, it's really been this for Sam. It's been a story of regression. I'm sure when Carolina fans saw him in the first 3 games, they were like, man, this kid is it. Fool's gold is what it's looking like right now, to the point that he got replaced by PJ Walker later in the game.
Went 3 for 14 for like 30 yards, which
Rule has said that Sam's a starter.
Special. Yeah, of course.
Very true.
He has confidence in him. He said last week that he's going to make a great Panther. I think that somewhere in between an overreaction for how bad he was, but also at the fact that he was terrible. And when you play like that, you deserve to get benched.
Yeah, I agree. And Deck, I want to give this to you because you're Giants. So you guys won 25-3. All right. Yeah. Yeah, it feels good. But DJ, not necessarily, and this is a tougher defense for sure. It's not like there's any necessarily knock on DJ. But they're just, I know he doesn't have a star wide receiver right now. He doesn't have his guy.
He is his star receiver.
I mean, when Evan Ingram is leading the team in receptions, it's kind of like, well, this is where we're at. Not yardage, but receptions.
Friday.
But are you looking at this as more just it's a concoction of what's around him right now, or do you still see that Daniel Jones is progressing? He's still the guy that you expect to keep this job for next year. Like, you could see Daniel Jones staying as a Giant for next year.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. He has had a relatively decent year so far. This team has been really, I don't want to throw out words like cursed. But if you look at yeah, seriously, if you look at the injuries this team has had with Galladay, Barkley, Slayton, Shepard, Tony now on the first drive after having 3 nice receptions, it's tough, man. I mean, it really is tough to go out there. And I don't want to sit here and knock all the Giants receivers, but when Colin Johnson, 6th-round draft pick, is your from this season, is your wide receiver 2 on a Sunday afternoon, that's the kind of game and season they're having. I mean, Devontae Booker is just dropping passes when no one's around him.
That was wild.
Out of the backfield. I knew it happened multiple times.
Man,
so, I mean, really, the best throws, runs, and catches of the day yesterday came from Daniel Jones. And that's what this team is right now, really, because it has gotten to the point where there is subpar NFL talent all around on both sides of the ball. That starts with coaching, that starts with front office. And you know what? The Maras are a bit major culprit in what this organization has really become so far, too. So good win yesterday, biggest one since 2012 at home, which is crazy. Obviously, that 22-point margin there. But yeah, I mean, I didn't expect the Panthers to come out and have three
No
points.
offense.
Listen,
no offense.
Yeah, six sacks for the Giants, and that nice pick from Bradbury in the red zone was also
Leonard
really
Williams.
clutch as well.
I was just gonna say, Steph, how does it feel watching Leonard Williams dominate?
Honestly, I'm not.
How does
mad
it feel
at that.
watching him dominate Sam Darnold? Like that's got to be the weird part.
I mean, it has to be weird for Sam. I guess not too weird, but just upsetting.
Both went to USC also.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna keep moving. I wanted to talk about the Bengals and the Ravens real quick, just because we have to speak about that game. Just a first half that was almost forgettable for Joe Burrow, but that second half lighting it up. And this final score of 41-17 isn't really a true story because, yes, late in the game, you had two big touchdowns, rushing touchdowns from P. Ryan and from Mixon that kind of put the game on ice. But this was a game in going to the fourth quarter that Lamar and the Ravens had a chance to win, but that defense just let up so easily, so quickly. But Greg, I want to know, now we have the Bengals who are in first place in the division. This was a big game for them. Where are you right now with Lamar Jackson, this Ravens team? Because they have Bateman back and he was a big part of it, but this isn't going to get the job done for them to try and make the push.
Like I said yesterday, these ain't your father's Bengals. These boys here to play. This is a good football team. So I don't think that the loss to the Bengals is time to hit the panic button.
Yeah.
The Ravens defense, however, needs to hit the panic button because this is two games against big teams where they did not show up. Yeah. It looked like when they let P. Ryan score that long TD run, it looked like they just laid down. It was like, yeah, you know what, we'll just let him go through. Same thing with Mixon. And they said that was Mixon's longest TD run in like 5 years off of them.
That's wild.
But as far as Lamar goes, I think he's doing everything he can to keep this team afloat. And if it wasn't for him, we might be looking at a 1-win or 2-win Ravens team. Because think about the running backs he has. And Hollywood has showed us right now. You know what I'm saying? Latavius Murray's hurt. It's the running backs of yesteryear.
Yeah.
The ghost of running backs past. Like these are his starting running backs.
Yeah.
Guys that in 2015 were first round picks, but now you won't even find them on the scrap heap. And yet they're still playing competitive football. And Hollywood still hasn't proven to be that wide receiver one. Yeah, he makes the great catches, but then there's plays that he should make, he doesn't make. So
and that's where Bateman does come in.
That is where Bateman.
I think as he comes along more.
Yes, I think as Bateman comes along, you see the big body. You see he can move across the field. Well, he'll catch the ball in the middle of the field. Yards after the catch. But what I'm interested in is
Bryant's similarity.
Say that again. Des Bryant.
I see a flash of what they did. Yeah, what they did with Des Bryant. He's that kind of receiver. I
can see that, and also I would like to see what the three receiver sets look like with Sammy Watkins and Bateman in there.
Yeah.
I think that would help, especially because of Sammy Watkins' route running ability. He's able to kind of take some pressure off the other two. Also, I keep seeing Eric writing like paragraphs in the comments, and I can't read because they're so long.
Hey, I was about to read it, but I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, ooh, Deck, I want to know from you. We're going to get into our new segment that's going to be reoccurring every Monday.
Wait. We're not going to talk about Listen. Just because you want to get it on time, how we not talk about the Chiefs?
I know. We could have talked about it's going to come up. It was going to come up during the top 5. Trust.
Mahomes ain't on the top 5.
Mahomes wasn't in the top 5 last week.
He doesn't have to be in the top 5 to talk about it. No, he doesn't have to be in the top 5 to talk about it. That's what I was looking at it. I was trying to be efficient. All right, I'm trying to move.
You was trying to railroad us from talking about this game.
No, not at all. See, what I was going to do is I knew he wasn't in your top 5, but I was going to mention when I was talking about my top 5 how bad he's been, or rather how in danger the Chiefs are, because he's not been the player that they need, and that whole team actually is a mess. But it's okay. I'll keep it efficient. We'll start with you, Greg. Let's talk about the Chiefs. What do you think about this? What do you think about this team?
I think Steve Spagnuolo should have been fired 3 weeks ago. That's what I think. I don't know why he still has a job. The defense is pretty much.
It's not on him though. It's not on him. Like
you think it's just personnel?
He does have a resume. Yeah, I think it is a lot of it is personnel. Look at the guys that they've had out here, and even front office moves. Seeing a lot of these guys leave.
But here's the thing: if something's not working, change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're ranked 32nd and 31st in virtually every metric possible known to man on defense.
They've never been a top defense. They were bend don't break to me, and with that, the offense was good enough. That was the thing. The offense was so good, actually not good enough. The offense was so good that the defense didn't have to have a bunch of stops. Because
they've struggled with the run. They've struggled with the run since Mahomes took over with the job in 2018.
What they were able to do on defense though was at least get after the quarterback a little bit, not like heavy, but they at least were able to put some pressure.
But make a big stop.
That is Spags' scheme though, is that he is one of the best blitzing coordinators in the league.
Yeah, but they're not getting. Tannehill had all day back there, all day.
He did, but at a certain point, we got to look at not the X's and the O's, but the Jimmies and the Joes at the end of the day. So
that was cute.
A little, I know, a little ridiculous coach speak for you. But
on offense, I do think I know Andy's stuck in his ways because he's a winning coach, but I do think they have to look at kind of revamping the scheme just a tad bit because Mahomes has no time out there. He's making bad decisions with the football. He's not holding on to the football. Instead of these 5 and 7 step drops, these long developing routes. He has the same amount of picks as Zach Wilson, which is wild. A lot of them weren't his fault, I will say though, because his receivers haven't been good either. Just the offense as a whole.
As his mom tweeted about.
there have been some picks that are on him though.
They have.
Like bad.
That one against Washington was horrible.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
threw out of the grass.
If you look, Hardman, Pringle, Ty Hill, they're always running these long developing routes and then have to come back to the ball because he's scrambling for his life. Run some quick hitters, allow your receivers to work in space, and get Travis Kelce more involved. You can't go wrong when you get Travis Kelce the ball.
On National Tight Ends Day, Travis Kelce should not be sitting on a team with 3 points when you're the best tight end in football. There's no excuse.
You have Travis Kelce?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I never drafted really. As good as Kelce was, I don't think I ever really took a tight end that early.
I did this year. I took him, and he's paid off. He's paid dividends.
Except for this past week. But Deck, what are your thoughts on this situation, this Casey situation? I know you kind of spoke a little bit about it, but Greg is saying Spags needs to go. What is the change you think needs to be made?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is really just getting together in stride. It's a defensive issue, but the offense hasn't looked good either. And really, Mahomes might be out against the Giants next week.
He said he should be good. I think I read a report that said he feels healthy, but he has to go through practice. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and it would definitely be a good get right game to try some stuff against the Giants. I mean, you could trot out Mahomes lefty and play competitive football for 3 quarters. Really, if we're being honest, as bad as the Chiefs have been. So I think that's going to be one thing is how they adjust and how they take this week if Mahomes is healthy to really get that offense back on track. And it's going to be big for Eric Bieniemy if he could help turn this offense around and this scheme could get going and this team could really get going, because then that really throws his name out in the hat that it should have been in for like 3 years, which is a head coaching vacancy in the National Football League next year.
I was going to move on, but I do like this comment from Chuck. And he's saying that the Chiefs need a big body possession receiver. And it is very true.
Or Sammy Watkins.
Well, I was going to say Sammy was supposed to be the guy. Yeah. Josh Gordon hopefully comes in and he can be that for this Chiefs team, because we've seen time and time again, if Hill isn't going, if he's not clicking with Mahomes, there's no other receiver that really takes over. Hardman was supposed to be that guy before the season started. He's had some decent games, but he has not shown up and been the next option when
he reminds me of like an old Philly receiver. He reminds me of the Jeremy,
Hardman?
Not even the Jeremy Maclin type. Yeah, he just reminds me of an old.
Too much credit. For
not a Maclin type. Like he reminds me of a guy. He's the Philly receiver. End arounds. These gadget plays with him. He's fast. Doesn't have the best hands. It doesn't put up big numbers. He reminds me of one of those old.
That guy stinks.
Maybe no. I was thinking more of the Andy Reid era of Philly receiver.
Gotcha.
Like that team.
Way he used them. Yeah.
Like some of those guys that you would see on the gadgets.
I can see that, but I think to Chuck's point, they do need a big body receiver, and what Josh Gordon can do when he comes back, seeing that he hasn't been in football, is going to be a toss-up. He might not actually end up being what the Chiefs need, but it is necessary for them if Josh Gordon is not that, to go and get that, because their offense just is not prolific as we all expect it to be. At no point did anyone think that they'd be figured out to the point that Mahomes is 9 picks, has thrown 9 picks in this season already. And when there's no Tyreek Hill and Kelce is not really going, that this offense is flat. Nothing.
Oh, wow. Chuck is on fire. He said maybe they make a play for Ayuk.
Shanahan, that's the guy who he doesn't
Hold
know how to use him at all.
on. Better yet, they should make a play for Trey Sermon for my fantasy team.
Absolutely.
Our fantasy team.
100%.
Let's get
that. Let's make a play for Miles. Let's get Miles Sanders in there.
Yeah, he's hurt. They don't need him. No. Let's get Trey Sermon. Let's get Ayuk over at in Kansas City, and then fantasy wise, just
not to be that guy, but Miles Sanders hurt for what? They don't even use him. What did he get hurt for? Did he trip over Sirianni's shoelaces on the sideline? I mean, they don't know how to use him. How's he getting hurt?
You're not wrong. You are not wrong. We've said that time and time again on here. But we're going to move on. Does anyone have any objections? Before I get going, does anyone have any objections to moving on?
No, we don't.
Okay, perfect. All right, so here we go. We're going to go back into our reoccurring top 5 quarterbacks in the league segment. All right, we're going – I will say we were going to have Josh on here. I wasn't here on Monday when you guys did the picks last time, but Josh was. He had some great picks. Deck, that was your partner in crime. I did watch.
Yeah,
Josh Allen buddies.
Yeah,
might say
Josh Allen's now my.
buddies.
Yeah, I don't think you can say that anymore, but I mean, listen, he was my favorite. He was my favorite Josh. My new favorite Josh, I think.
Yeah.
Was Greg's coworker. Greg's coworker in crime, I would say, is my partner in crime on the air. So it was great to have him on. What's his last name again? Something
Corbin.
Like C, right?
Corbin.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I knew it was all right. I'll just remember lefty pitcher. Not the Diamondbacks, the Nationals. What are we living from in 5 years ago?
Patrick Corbin.
But yeah, there we go. Pat Corbs had a bad year this year, but is usually pretty good. Although I guess that might be a stretch. But getting into football, top 5 list. I'll start out at number 5, and that's Lamar Jackson. So far, he's completed 65% of his passes. He's got 19. I would say 1943, but to be correct, I'll just say 1943 yards is fine. I guess that's borderline correct. And he's got 10 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, and he's got a 60.3 QBR. And then he added 2 touchdowns on the ground as well, which I think is worth noting because while he does have less touchdowns than the 4 guys on the list passing wise, he does have the two rushing that he gets in. My 4th guy is going to be Matt Stafford, really just having an excellent year, a 78.7 QBR. So he's making his debut on my list. Greg's had him on his list, I think, since KJ was an infant. Really nothing new, but a 78.7 QBR. For reference, the guy with the second highest QBR in the league is Tom Brady, and that's at 69.4. So almost a full 10 points higher than any other quarterback. That goes to show you how supercharged that offense is with Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, and Cooper Kupp, who's really having a historic season by a fantasy standpoint and a football standpoint, really just balling out. He's got end of the year numbers for most receivers. And coming in at number 3 is the
yards.
Oh yeah, it's the connection is automatic at this point. But coming in at number 3 is a guy who finds himself in the heart of the MVP race and is also the quarterback of the only undefeated team left in football, and that's Kyler Murray. He's completing almost 74% of his passes. He's got just over the 2,000 mark, 2002. That's my birth year. So he's got 2,002 yards to boot there. And he's got 17 touchdowns to 5 picks and a 65.1 QBR. Coming in at 2 is Josh Allen off a bye week. Not too much more to talk about. Otherwise, he's still got 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, a very good ratio there, with a 65.8 QBR. Quarterback of arguably the best team in football, I would say. Best team in the AFC, I'd crown them that. And the best quarterback in football, the undisputed best quarterback in football, in my humble opinion, is Tom Brady, completing almost 69% of his passes. Nice. And he's leading the league in passing yards with 2,275, leading the league in passing touchdowns with 21, and he's got just 3 interceptions. And as I mentioned earlier, he's second in QBR across the league with a 69.4 quarterback rating. So
Deck,
that's my list.
Yeah, do you say that Josh Allen has how many yards?
He's got 1,370 yards.
I'm seeing 1,723. I have that list.
Josh
1,700.
Allen.
Yeah, passing yards. Passing yards, you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not talking about receiving.
Well, hey, rushing yards.
Yes. So
I got
Josh Allen,
1723 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it as well. We didn't.
13.
I realized I didn't add in the. I went with the stats from my lists yesterday, or excuse me, last Monday, and I updated all my
I
stats.
see.
But I forgot Allen played that Monday night, so let's
It
add
does sound like it.
353 yards, 3
Yeah.
touchdowns, and a pick to that. So Allen's QB
I mean,
touchdown to interception ratio goes from 12 to 2 to 15 to 3, and he goes from 1,370 yards to
17-23.
23.
Yeah,
So
I
definitely
mean, your
good there.
second favorite Josh now. I just figured you'd get it right, but whatever.
Yes,
Just want to make
and
sure.
and his completion percentage went up from 62.3 to 64.8. So completing about 65% of his passes. And just to get his QBR real quick, his QBR.
You're
I believe
trying
I said
to put me
65.
over. I know what you're doing. I was trying to be kind and get the right numbers, but you're trying to put me over. It's okay.
With oh yeah, exactly. Hey, listen,
I
Gino's
just
warming up
wanna
on the sideline, so vintage 2013 feelings out there. He's under center right now, doing some drills. But
I just want to
that's my
say,
list.
not today, but we're gonna have a discussion why QBR is useless.
No, I like QBR. Passer rating is useless.
They're both absolutely useless and extremely flawed. But
I
that's
don't
for
think so,
another
because
day.
if
That
you-
is
if
for
you-
another day.
It is for another day, but if you look at the top QBs and how their stats and how it plays out, QBR does align with the rest.
Like I said, it's for another day.
That's
Yes,
fine.
it is. So,
and
Greg,
I'll
what
give
are
an
your top
honorable
five?
mention. I'll give an
Please.
honorable
Yes,
mention.
quickly.
Dak did fall off. He's at 6 for me right now. And I'll give an honorable mention to Aaron Rodgers, who's going to be on this list in 2 weeks, having a sneaky good season. They're 6-1, and his stats align pretty nicely with those in the top 5 already. So watch out for A-Rod. Don't sleep on him, and go look for his Halloween costume, because I guess that's why he's growing out his hair so long at this point. What is he, the Joker? I mean, that's a little predictable to me, but we'll see.
Greg, who you got for me? Give me your
Looking
top.
forward to the list.
So this to me, this is one of the toughest. This week-to-week thing is tough.
Mhm.
So at 5, I had Dak 5. I'm gonna keep him at 5. 4, I'm gonna go with Josh Allen. 3, I'm gonna go with Kyler. 2, I'm gonna go with Stafford, and 1, I'm going to go with Tom Brady. With
So
honorable
Lamar's not
mentions
in your top 5.
Not this week. Not this week.
Any
With
honorable mentions?
Honorable mention going to Lamar, Joe Burrow, and our guy out in San Diego, Justin Herbert.
Burrow definitely does need an honorable mention. That is fair. Shout out to Eric for saying that as well.
Don't. Hey, Eric, look at me. I got you. So I got Kyler at 5. All right. He has been amazing. I do like what Kyler's been doing out there with the Cardinals. A potent offense. I have Josh Allen at 4. For every reason that you mentioned, Deck, with Josh, and again, this top 5 to me, you can mix and match a few of them, minus with the exception of number 1. But my 3 is going to be Dak Prescott. He's been very impressive, multi touchdowns in every game. Only has 4 picks, put the ball on the ground 3 times with fumbles, but none of those fumbles have ever affected their games. They have won every game outside of week 1 against the Bucks. But Dak Prescott's my number 3. Number 2 is going to be Matthew Stafford. This offense is just transformed. We've seen that. Look at Cooper Kupp. The man leads the league in receiving yards. You wouldn't have had that with Goff. It's just a night and day difference with Stafford there. He is become a prolific. He's made this offense prolific, and they already had an amazing defense. Hence why Greg has been on that train for so long, the Stafford train. And
honestly, it's why I drafted Kupp so high in like 4 or 5 leagues.
The man had 150 yards, 130 yards, 140 yards. He just continues to have big games. And this is someone that we look at as a possession receiver under Goff, but now with Stafford, see him how he can stretch the field.
Also, is it just me? Is he always open?
They find ways. I mean, they throw these slant. They've been introducing this new slant route and train track from the gun on 3rd and 1. They used it yesterday, and Cooper Kupp just undercuts the receiver in front of him and is wide open on a 2-yard slant. It's insane.
So my number 1, as everyone else is on this panel, Tom Brady. Tom, terrific. The man is just, he's too good. He leads the league in passing yards and TDs with 21. Again, 44. You just don't see this kind of player at that age dominating the way that he is.
Pretty sure he has a cryogenic chamber. I'm convinced.
Honestly, years
He's
from
nuts.
now, we might find out information about Tom and how whatever advantages he had that we ourselves, our technology, we weren't ready for it. Tom's ahead of the curve.
I do want to shout out Derek Carr. He's not quite on honorable mention yet because he doesn't have the TD, but he's second in the league in yards. And he has a solid completion percentage. But you know what I'm saying? Manny, take it easy. Take it easy.
It sounds like you should have waited. You should do that during your turn, not my turn.
Ooh.
If this was a top 10 list, if this was a top 10 list.
Yes, if it was top 10, he'll make it.
And I'm gonna go. My honorable mentions on Lamar Jackson, because he has been a better passer for sure in this season. But Joe Burrow, for what Eric and Chuck are saying, that game against the Ravens to me was an amazing game. It looks like they took the trailing wheels off of him. Having Jamar Chase, his guy from LSU, has been a huge difference. Jamar Chase has the second most receiving yards in the league.
What number did you have Joe Burrow at?
Joe Burrow's an honorable mention.
Okay, copy.
Yeah, he's an honorable mention. I just think that you have to mention him.
Yeah. No, I agree. No, sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So to me, Joe is going to be someone, because he's healthy now. We're seeing the way he's moving, the way he's playing, that he's healthy. They're taking the training wheels off. We're going to have more games like this. He had his first 400-yard passing game against the Ravens on yesterday. And the kid can ball, and he has the weapons around him. I mean, Tyler Boyd now is looking like, an option.
Trade bait?
He's losing targets. Well, trade bait for sure. He's losing targets. Mm-hmm. Gone are the years of AJ Green where he was the guy. Now you have Jamar Chase. You have Higgins here who's doing the work that they need to do in the intermediate route, and Jamar Chase is just eating up everything.
Not only that, you finish?
No, I'm not. But you were gonna say.
Go ahead. Finish.
All I was gonna say is the running game has also been good because P. Ryan is not someone I expected to be a part of this equation when it came to the backfield. But
absolutely,
he has been. And for a player like Mixon who does get hurt, for them to have a reliable back in P. Ryan that they can send out there and he can go and he can still eat up the yards, this offense is looking dangerous. All right, and that's because of Joe Burrow.
Go.
Am I the only one who has Lamar Jackson in my top 5?
That's what you were feeling. Yes, you are.
For this week. But I
was definitely thinking about it. I thought you were gonna put him at 2 or something because you had mentioned Allen for slipping on a quarterback sneak. Got dropped down 2 after having a really good game. So I was like, he must be dropping Lamar down to like 10 if we're gonna go into that. But
just on a Bengals point, I can't remember if it was Paul Lawson or Travis on Sunday. Travis sneakily making a good point. But they said Joe Burrow against the blitz have been amazing. And Jamar Chase has been his number 1 target against the blitz. And that's exactly what happened on Sunday in the second half. I forgot the Ravens D coordinator name at the moment, but when he blitzed, Marlon Humphreys was 1-on-1 on the outside and got absolutely torched.
Yeah, Wink Martindale is the defensive coordinator for the Ravens. He said that Jamar Chase is like they made him in a what did he say? Whatever he said, like they made him in a factory. He's a mix of Deshaun Jackson and Odell Beckham Jr., which I think is a really good comp because he's got D-Jax level explosiveness and Odell level playmaking ability, and the hands are just. I mean, I thought he was dropping balls.
Phenomenal.
I mean, that was what they said, and it's just ridiculous.
I mean, at this point, that was a ruse. I'm convinced.
It was to affect his draft stock for fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Big Bry still picked him up. He's like 7-0.
That
in the Baruch League.
The 82-yard run that he had, where missed tackle, he
broke
spins
3
off
tackles.
Yeah, it was just phenomenal, and
nuts.
Just the breakaway speed. When you talk about the comp, saying Deshaun Jackson, he has incredible breakaway speed at the size that he has, and just the hands. He's been phenomenal. Gonna be one of the best rookies we've seen in a very long time. But let's get into
on the heels of Justin Jefferson.
Looks like
you can blow it out the water.
Well, speaking of Justin Jefferson, what the stats were last year at this time was through their first 7 NFL games, Justin Jefferson had 563 yards, and Jamar Chase has 700. Yep,
well, just to add some context to that, they had Justin Jefferson in the slot for like the first 2 or 3 games, and then he realized they need him on the outside, and that's when things shifted.
Yeah,
he wasn't heavily targeted in the first 3 games.
It's going to be fun to watch Jamar Chase as he's maturing because there's still so much. It's just raw talent that he's using to beat these guys. Because Humphrey knows now what it's like to deal with Jamar Chase. and that Baltimore
getting
secondary.
his patties cooked.
Oh boy, all day. But let's get into our picks for tonight. 8:20. Goddamn. Monday Night Football.
Gino's out there right now. What did I say? He's out there.
You added minutes onto everything you said. I'm convinced to sabotage me. But I will start with you, Deck, and get out the way. Monday Night Football, Saints, Seahawks. Who do you have, and why?
I like the Saints. This game might stay close just for the sole fact that the game's in CenturyLink. Two of the biggest teams we've seen with home field advantage, but none of the starting quarterbacks that we saw during those home field advantage days are on the field. Obviously, Russ with his broken finger or thumb or whatever it is, and Breeze being retired, who also Breeze dealt with a similar injury. So matchup of the thumbs tonight, I'm going to go with Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints. I think they get it done on the road in a wide fashion. Really, I think this isn't going to be too much of a competitive football game throughout, but we might see a garbage time touchdown that would make it a little bit closer in the end. So give me like 28-19 Saints in that realm.
Greg, who do you and Kaylee have?
Kaylee, I don't know if you guys know if you heard in the background, but she was eating popcorn, just watching the show for like the last 15 minutes on the side.
I did not.
Yes. But I got the Saints.
She's watching Booger McFarland's pregame show.
Awful. But I got the Saints in this one, even though I feel like the Saints are an enigma and we never know which Saints team is going to show up. I just think overcoming Geno, as much as I want to see him do well, I think overcoming Geno will be too tough. And the Saints run D and their pass rush is still pretty good. And that's why I got the Saints in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go Saints. It's really based on the defense more so. Just seeing Geno having to go up against that Saints D that's very good this season. Even though he did well last week. And a lot of that to me is whenever a defense schemes for a particular quarterback and a backup comes in, and their games are kind of similar to Russ, but you always see that first game that, when they replace him, they can have a decent drive or two. But now that the defense had a chance to game plan for Geno, I don't think he's that successful. And again, that Saints is just too good for them. So I got the Saints in this game for sure. And since the Seahawks already punted, if I'm not mistaken, who said that in the chat? I think I saw that. Yeah, Chuck let us know. So Seahawks already punted.
Chuck, are they wearing the lime green uniforms? I just want to get a visual of Geno trotting off the field after 3 and out. Just let me know if it's the green or the navy. I need to know.
Well, as Chuck is getting back to us, I'm going to wrap this up. It was a pleasure. Always great to be here on a Monday, right before kickoff, and sometimes during and after kickoff. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to all Hitless content on YouTube, Facebook, and IG. The handle is SportsHL. Again, that is SportsHL. Coming up Tuesday, tomorrow, we have the Fan Zone. Manny, you're in the comments. Are there any special guests? I don't get this ahead of time, so you'll just write that in. All right, 5 o'clock Fan Zone with Manny and Mike. As you know, on Wednesday, we're going to have the live show with Carl and Mike Miller. And we're going to have a special guest. I do know this now. Greg Polius is going to be on the live show on Wednesday.
I am? Really?
I mean, that's what I heard. That's what rumor has it. You're going to be on the live show to talk about.
Did he just go out?
Yeah, I can't hear him either. I guess we will not know what we'll be talking about on Wednesday's show. Mark Zuckerberg or Carl Coulange just decided to censor whatever Steph just said, so you'll have to find out what's going down on Wednesday. You're not going to want to miss it.
You can hear me now?
Yes,
oh my gosh!
Yes.
Look at the timing. The timing is just impeccable, huh? Yes. So Mike Miller had a huge issue with your decision to take Reggie Miller off of the top 75 as one of his favorite Pacer players. I don't know if it's his favorite, but
it is his favorite player. He's a Reggie stan. I'm not surprised.
Who else would be a favorite Pacer though? In all fairness,
it's a trash organization.
The bonus. I mean,
Jermaine O'Neal. But
I remember him as a Celtic.
Oof.
Which is nuts.
But we have that on Wednesday, so you will see Greg popping up again on Wednesday before our Friday show. So check that out.
I honestly, you surprised me because I still don't even know if I'm gonna show up. But you kind of like now you kind of force my hand.
I mean,
now you have to show up.
I think that boss man said you're gonna be there, so you have to be there. All right, that's kind of what it is.
I see what I could do. I don't know if I could be there because it's during. Yeah, I don't know.
You're letting the people down. That's all I'm saying.
I'll see what I can work out.
This better be like a playing possum moment, and you're gonna come on with like an Irish flag, like McGregor or something, and go nuts.
Well, we hope to see it, and then we're back again on Friday, 4 to 5, 4:30 to 5:30, as you already know. But with that, I want to thank y'all again for coming out, listening, watching, in the comments. Everyone in the comments, always appreciate y'all. This is Smoke and Mirrors, presented by the Sports Tidlist. I'm your host, Stephen Polius, alongside Declan Krogman and Greg Polius. Enjoy your night. Have a great week. Let's go. I'm excited to see these Saints win. Y'all take care.